No one who had ever seen Mark in his infancy would have supposed him born to be a hero. His Irish background, pale complexion, a box trotter. My mother's complexion turned out of sudden completely pale as I spoke the truth. I stood tense, feeling slightly overcome by fatigue. On the other hand, Mark started rattling off. He talked about cooking shows, his hobbies, his interest in the work he had arrested, and at last his family background. I started to freak out. I couldn't breathe, nor did I answer when my mother started asking the wrong answers. A boyfriend, I thought, and how funny it seemed sending my boyfriend into my very own flat. Didn't my father always kill nearby suitors? My mother had always been a woman of simple taste, but also a woman of usual plain sense, quite a temper, and even more remarkable, with a good fortune. She had had 4 children before me, and instead of dying in labor like the rest of the Indian girls in my family, she continued her life as usual. To see them growing up around her and to enjoy excellent health herself. A big family, just around 15 family members, was considered a fine family back in India. My parents stood next to me, looking at the light that was thrown from the lamp. Here we sat for at least half an hour until I kicked them out. Actually, my father left without a saying. I knew he was disappointed. I looked frightened into Mark's iris eyes and asked him, "What have I done?" He paused for a moment, the fire glinting softly from his pale hands. "I'm no jealous man, perhaps a vengeful one, but no, not a jealous man. I wouldn't take them from you." And then he asked again, "Do you want them back in your life?" I held my hand in answer, thinking. Across the room something winked in yellowish orange light. Suddenly it hit me. Mark and I have got to turn down the fires upstairs. On the strength of this, the fire started grabbing and spitting down the stairs, surrounding both the windows and doors around us. We were already caught. I felt sick with apprehension. Mark looked calmly at me like we would have all day to sit. Suddenly it hit me what a stupid person Mark was. He got no mental abilities or survival instinct. I leave it to be settled by whomsoever it may concern, wherever the tendency of his effort be altogether to recommend parental tyranny or reward filial disobedience. I felt like Scarlett O'Hara and her lover Ashley in Gone with the Wind, who needed her red butler. Why settle for catfish when you can eat caviar? I was going to live. Mark wasn't worth the effort trying to tear my family apart. I started thinking. I had perhaps 20 minutes to find a plan before the house was going to the ashes. I started to run in panic. Mark just sat there, holding some kind of magazine in the right hand, shifting weight from right foot to the left. Then it hit me. If I took off my clothes, so the clothing wouldn't burn my flesh, and jumped through out the window, then I wouldn't end up in a coffin. So I did. I got my clothing off in a rush. I jumped up to the casement and looked down at the street, but the only sight that struck me was the reflection of the reddish flash sliding around the flats. With a bow, I jumped out of the window and suddenly disappeared in a somber night.